My boys are having several friends over today for an airsoft war, so I'm preparing some lunch for them. I'm making cheeseburger soup, some sourdough rolls, and some hot apple cider. This dough is a new recipe. I'll share the link in the description below. It's a sandwich bread recipe, so I am making some loaves, but for the boys, I'm doing rolls. I didn't follow the recipe exactly because I always use sourdough as well as freshly milled grain. So this is actually a blend of all-purpose flour and soft white wheat and hard white wheat that I milled in my flour mill. I get all of my flour and my wheat berries organic from Azure Standard. That's an incredible company that if you don't already order from, you should consider. I will post the link to their website in the description box below if you're interested in seeing if they drop near you. It's a great company. I've been ordering from them for about 14 years now. I also get my garlic and my onions, lots of my dry goods from this company, as well as potatoes, ginger root, and so many other things. I've made videos about what I get from Azure Standard, so I'll put a link to that video in the description box as well. This ground beef is from a very recently purchased half cow from the beef farmer that we've been ordering beef from for like 14 years at this point. They're kind of family friends at this point, and we always take a trip down to their farm to pick up all of our meat for the month. But we went ahead and ordered half a cow because it was starting to get to the point where we were spending probably too close to what it would cost to just get half a cow. And so it's been really nice to have the freezer stocked to the brim with this amazing organic grass-fed beef. I'm adding 2 bags of organic frozen veggies from Aldi, and I'm going to add a nice amount of Redmond's real salt and organic pepper, along with some organic turmeric. I try to add turmeric to every meal. It's just such an incredibly powerful food. It's got amazing anti-inflammatory properties, and it's really, really healthy for our immune system. So I put it in everything. It's not very strong in its flavor, so I don't feel like it messes with any dishes flavor. So this Redmond's real salt is mined in the US. I think it's in Utah, and it's delicious. It's not as salty as your typical table salt, so I usually add what looks like too much, but it's actually perfect. In fact, I needed to add just a little bit more at the end of this recipe. So after I stir in all the seasonings, I'm going to top this off with beautiful homemade bone broth. I always store up my bones from my chickens, which I also get from the same meat farmer. And I just put them in a Ziploc bag and freeze them until I have 2 or 3 saved up. Then I make a big batch in my Instant Pot, and I always just put it into this red bowl in my fridge to have on hand for rice, soups, stews, any sauces. I love having ready-made bone broth. And the bones I usually crush up real squishy and mix it into my dog's kibble so that they don't have just boring old kibble every single day. This soup is done prepping. I'm just going to put it to a low simmer and let it cook for about an hour until the potatoes are just tender but not falling apart. And now I'm going to gather my ingredients for the hot apple cider. I have all these apples from last month from a bushel I ordered from another company that comes through town once a month. It's called Bulk Natural Food. You should definitely check if they make any stops in your neck of the woods. Last month I ordered a bushel of Honeycrisp apples. I got sweet potatoes, organic sweet potatoes, and organic kale, and they were all wonderful. This month, the citrus is here. I'm so excited. I've been anxiously waiting, and so I got California organic navel oranges, organic lemons, organic mandarins, and some carrots as well, organic carrots. So I'm very excited for that order. It'll be here in about 2 weeks. I am putting half a cup of brown sugar into this large pot, a mixture of now I can't remember the names of the cinnamon, but there's 2 varieties of cinnamon sticks I added because one of them, I think I can't remember the name, the Ceylon cinnamon is significantly more nutritious, and so I wanted some of that in there along with the cassia vera, maybe was the other one, and some whole allspice. I did add some ground allspice as well, just to make sure it was flavorful enough. I put a tablespoon and maybe like a half a tablespoon of the ground allspice, and I chopped up these apples. There's about 11 apples, and used my Berkey water because I wanted it to be filtered water. And it's hard to tell, but it's about 2 inches above the apples, and I'll boil that for an hour. The bread is ready and cooling on the counter while these boys play in this freezing weather. I begged them to take chapstick because it's windy and freezing, but no fear, because I've got hot, delicious soup and fresh sourdough rolls waiting for them for lunch, and this delicious hot apple cider. After they had their soup and bread, they went out for another battle, and I strained the hot apple cider. So this was boiling for an hour, but then simmering for 2 hours. So the apples are very, very mushy. You can save them and use them as applesauce, or you can feed them to your chickens like I did. My boys don't prefer applesauce. I could have saved it and used it for baking. I could have eaten it. I could have added it to our oatmeal. I really am just feeding my chickens as much warm, nourishing stuff as I can right now because it's been so cold. I don't want to have any scares like we did last winter when the temperatures changed so drastically. A few of them had a few days there where they needed to bounce back, and it was a little scary for some of them. So this year we boarded up their coop early, and I've been giving them a lot of like wheat and oats because it really generates a lot of heat in their bodies, and anything warm and nutritious like this from the kitchen. So I'm saving this applesauce for them. After you strain and press through the strainer, you'll get not a lot of pulp, but just enough to make the cider a little bit full-bodied, and so it's not super thin. This was so delicious, and if it was for a bigger party with adults and stuff, I would probably slice some oranges and throw in some cranberries and cinnamon sticks to float on the top and make it look so beautiful. Also, some star anise would be lovely floating on the top of the hot apple cider in the pot with a lovely ladle to serve and enjoy. Try some of these recipes. Tell me what you think. And thanks for joining me today. God bless you guys, and see you next time.